right here in Miami. I'm right here in Miami. Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news.
Tonight, Andrew and Tristan Tate are behind bars in Miami, waiting for their possible extradition to the UK.
I'm gonna walk around handcuffs. I'm gonna look guilty. You look guilty with handcuffs with police.
British prosecutors say 4 more victims came forward.
Andrew Tate built his entire image around one simple idea. A man takes responsibility for his life. No excuses, no victim mentality, and when things go wrong, you accept the consequences.
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you.
That message helped turn Tate into one of the biggest figures in the manosphere, with millions of young men looking to him for advice on money, women, masculinity, and what it supposedly means to be a man. But now, the man who spent years telling other men how they should live is facing allegations that completely contradict the image he built. After years of legal trouble in Romania and the United Kingdom, Andrew and his brother Tristan were recently arrested in Miami as British authorities seek their extradition.
British authorities are saying that these new charges follow the discovery of additional evidence. What do we know about that and what led up to the arrests?
Well, according to what's been published by authorities here, the Bedfordshire police received a fresh file of new evidence, new alleged victims or complainants, bringing the number of complainants from 3 up to, I believe, 7, and dramatically increasing the number of charges up to over 40. So these are charges that initiated the U.S. Marshal Service to go out and initiate extradition proceedings.
And with Tate now facing allegations involving non-consensual acts, human trafficking for exploitation, and severe child exploitation offenses, the allegations attached to him have only become more serious. So the question isn't just what happens to Andrew Tate next. It's whether the man he told millions of young men to become was ever the man he claimed to be himself. Let's talk about it.
You know what they didn't teach you in self-defense? Here's a little move. When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me trying to resist, and I just...
And then he grabbed me by my neck.
And he put his hands around my throat and started strangling me, kind of like crushing my windpipe.
He was strangling me like so hard, I couldn't breathe.
Before Andrew Tate became one of the most controversial men on the internet, his story actually started thousands of miles away from the place where he would eventually build his reputation. Emery Andrew Tate III was born on December 1st, 1986 in Washington, D.C. His father, Emery Tate Jr., served in the United States Air Force and was also an accomplished chess player who earned the title of International Master. And if you ever listen to Andrew Tate talk about his father, it's pretty obvious that the man had a huge influence on the way he viewed the world. Tate has frequently credited his father with teaching him how to think strategically, and even today he still talks about him as one of the biggest influences in his life.
My father was a chess grandmaster. I was on track to become a chess grandmaster. So
He was a legitimate chess grandmaster.
My father was the highest rated black chess player in history.
Really?
Yeah. So my father was a big G in chess. A lot of people say, oh, I know this guy, he's really smart, or I know this guy has a photographic memory. No, and I'm not just saying this because he's my dad. When you've met true supreme intelligence, I've never met anybody else in the world who had the level of intelligence he had.
But when Andrew was still young, his parents eventually divorced. His mother moved Andrew, Tristan, and their sister Janine to Luton, England. And according to Andrew and Tristan, this was where life became harder. Their mother worked to support the family, but they struggled financially.
Any man who's had an easy life is going to fall and collapse in the face of adversity. And the whole point of being a man, the whole point of masculinity is the ability to resist. Our mother and father got divorced. Dad stayed in America to play chess. We moved to Luton, England, lived in a council house, government housing.
Homeless shelter first for 2 years.
Homeless shelter along with all the Kosovans at the time. There was a Kosovan crisis. We were with the Kosovans. Then we moved into a council house. Mother was on the dole. She ended up getting a job as a dinner lady one time. That was it. We were raised on $300 a month.
And eventually, Andrew found something that would completely change the direction of his life. In 2005, he began training in kickboxing, and he was actually pretty successful at it. Tate would eventually build a professional kickboxing record of roughly 76 wins, 9 losses, and 1 draw, with 32 knockouts. He also briefly competed in MMA and became a multiple-time world champion. But there was one problem.
So kickboxing doesn't make money like boxing, right? When you're kickboxing, I was like one-time world champion. You're making like
30, 40, 50 grand to fight, but you're fighting like twice a year. And it's yeah, I mean, towards the end, I was getting 5, 6 fights a year and I was doing better. But when you're fighting like twice a year and you have to pay your coach and your taxes, you're living in London, you're not rich.
Being a successful fighter wasn't making Andrew Tate the kind of money he wanted. And eventually, Tate realized that if he wanted the lifestyle he envisioned for himself, he was going to have to find another way to get it. And that's when Andrew Tate stopped thinking like a fighter and started thinking like a businessman. That search for more money would eventually lead Andrew Tate into a completely different world. Him and his brother Tristan began running an adult webcam business where women would perform online for paying customers. And according to Tate himself, the business became extremely profitable. Tate has openly discussed how he and Tristan would recruit women into the operation, many of whom they were romantically involved with.
So I'm on all these strange websites looking up all these things, and there's something in the corner, one of them links to talk to live girls now or something. And I was like, talk to live girls now? I don't know why I clicked on it. I don't know if it's because about 10 minutes before I just written down I had all these girlfriends, but I clicked on it and I saw some chick on a webcam. So for the next few days, I'm sitting there looking at all these cam companies, all these cam websites. I'm saying to Tristan, maybe we should start a cam website. Maybe we should start a cam website. And my idea initially was to start my own website. And then I realized it's better just to put girls on their website. So that was the plan I came up with to make money.
He has also claimed that while the women appeared on camera, he and other men working behind the scenes would sometimes handle the conversations with the customers in an effort to get them to spend more money.
I sat the girl on camera, gave her a keyboard that wasn't plugged in, and she'd just go like this. And I sat behind the screen, and I finessed the dudes. Me, myself. I was a cam girl.
But this business was for more than just the money, because years later, some of Tate's own comments about how these women were recruited and managed would take a completely different meaning once authorities began investigating him.
So the recruitment process is, you message them on Instagram. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you know, you're always busy, you're always at work, you can come work for me. Work for you doing what? So you'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. Come, let's have a meeting, let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it, fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. This girl's like, okay, well, I'll try it. Put both girls on camera together the first day, so the new girl could sit there and just sit with the other girl and get drunk. Give them a bottle of vodka. Girls will sit there, get drunk, have a great time. You say it's your new job now. You haven't go to work ever again.
There's a misconception about human trafficking cases where the public may think the particular victim has been abducted from another country or lured, and then they're under extreme coercive situation to perform in the sex industry. Whereas the majority of the cases come under this type of lover boy method, where an individual, a male, will then befriend an individual, almost groom them, pretend to fall in love with them, have a relationship with them, and then lure them in to work in the sex industry.
And the webcam business wasn't Tate's only venture. After eventually relocating to Romania, Andrew and Tristan also became involved in the casino business through profit-sharing arrangements with an established Romanian gambling company. And little by little, Andrew Tate was building the lifestyle that fighting alone couldn't give him. He now had the money, the cars, the women, and eventually the image of a man who seemed to have figured out a formula for success. But money alone wasn't going to make Andrew Tate famous. For that, he needed an audience. That audience would first begin to grow in 2016 when Andrew Tate appeared on the British reality show Big Brother.
If you want to learn something, you have to shut your mouth. You know, it's very easy to talk and constantly, get attention and talk. You don't learn anything that way. You learn a lot more by being quiet, listening to what other people say, listening to who they look at while they talk. So it's day one. I decided to stay quiet. I decided to learn a lot about my housemates and not necessarily suss them out, but just learn about the situation we're in. And while doing that, try my very, very best to complete the task, which is get out of the other's house. I don't care if nobody down there likes me. I'm sure by now, everyone's already pre-decided they don't like me, and that's fine. I know where I genuinely am. So I know I'm the most intelligent person in this house. I know I'm the most capable person in this house.
Appearing on a show that popular should have been a huge opportunity for him. But Tate's time on Big Brother didn't last very long. Just days after entering the house, Tate was removed from the show after controversial material from his past began circulating online. And while Tate disputed the way some of that material was being portrayed, his short appearance on the show gave him something he didn't have before: the attention. But this still wasn't the Andrew Tate that millions of people would eventually come to know. That version of Tate would emerge years later when he began turning his lifestyle, his opinion, and his views on masculinity into something much bigger. And eventually, Tate wouldn't just be selling people the idea of becoming successful. He would be selling young men an entire philosophy for how they should live.
Having pointless sex
even with girls, is gay.
Indians know how to fuck too. Indians, there's loads of Indians. Everyone makes fun of Indians. Everyone clowns on them. Oh, you're Indian. Yeah, he's Indian, but he has kids. You don't. You're a 28-year-old white male making fun of an Indian. Indian has babies. You ain't got shit. You got a dog and a 401k and an entitled girlfriend who takes selfies all day.
Way, I can't imagine living in this idea, this utopian, ha ha ha, every day, just, you know, girls, drink, hedonism. I don't want that. Yeah, it's degenerate. I think the only thing you can do that's not degenerate is usually be fighting a battle or solving a problem.
Growth.
Yeah, growth.
And that philosophy would eventually find a home inside a growing online community known as the manosphere. The manosphere is basically a collection of online communities centered around men, masculinity, dating, relationships, and the problems many men believe they're facing in modern society. And this is where Andrew Tate fit almost perfectly. Tate began pushing a message centered around things like discipline, money, physical strength, self-reliance, and personal accountability. He constantly told men that nobody was coming to save them, and if they weren't happy with their lives, it was their responsibility to do something about it. And to be fair, some of that message is probably exactly what a lot of young men needed to hear. But Tate's message also came with another side. His views on women, relationships, and what he believed a man's role should be were often criticized as misogynistic and extreme.
So I end up with all these chicks just stuck in their house, sitting there, bored, completely in love with me. And of course, they don't go out. They're not allowed out. Like, oh, Tate's away, so they go out with their friends. No. You don't go to the club with your friends. I don't know what kind of bitch-ass dude is letting his chicks go to the club with her friends without him. No. You stay in the house. You don't go nowhere. You're not, no restaurants, no clubs, nothing. I can walk and have 10 wives behind me. That's perfectly acceptable. So if a woman has 10 men, it's disgusting.
All cheating scenarios, 100% the blame is always on the female. Look after yourselves. When the last time you put some makeup on? Do some burpees. You got fucking gut. Sort yourself out so you can end that confusion bullshit. While we're on subject of cheating, if your man does cheat, the most stupid thing you can do is leave him.
But whether people loved what Tate was saying or absolutely hated it, one thing became obvious. People were listening. And Tate wasn't just giving these men advice, he was building an entire ecosystem around them. There was the War Room, a private network marketed toward men interested in things like wealth, fitness, networking, and personal development. And then there was Hustlers University, an online subscription program where members paid monthly to learn different ways of making money. That's including things like cryptocurrency, investing, and online businesses. But Hustlers University would eventually do something even more important for Tate. Through its affiliate system, members were encouraged to promote Andrew Tate's content online, and eventually clips of Andrew Tate giving controversial opinions were everywhere. You would see it on your TikTok, your YouTube shorts, and Instagram reels. It became almost impossible to scroll through social media without eventually seeing Andrew Tate. And whether people were posting those clips because they agreed with him, hated him, or simply couldn't believe what he was saying, every clip made Andrew Tate bigger. Then by August 2022, some of the biggest social media companies in the world had taken action against him. Facebook and Instagram removed his accounts, TikTok permanently banned him, and YouTube removed his channels after violations of their platform policies, with much of the controversy surrounding Tate's comments about women. And for Tate and many of his supporters, this would eventually become another example of the system trying to silence him.
You've been banned off many social media. What's your moves?
They used their bullets. I'm still all over social media. When the Matrix attacked me and insulted my character, they decided to also attack Hustlers University because they saw how successful it was. And a lot of the reviews made about it, people attacking it, they never even joined. Yeah. They just go and do a review and say, Hustlers University is a scam because Andrew Tate's a bad guy. Yeah. So the Matrix was, at the time, the algorithm was favoring anyone who made a negative video about me. If you made a negative video about Andrew Tate, you got millions and millions of views.
At this point, his popularity already exploded, and so did his influence. He presented himself as the top G, a man who was strong, wealthy, disciplined, independent, and completely in control of his own life. But one of the most important parts of Tate's message was accountability. And for many of his supporters, Andrew Tate became the example. But eventually, Tate would find himself in a situation where those same ideas about accountability, responsibility, and consequences would be put to the test. Because while Andrew Tate was becoming one of the most recognizable faces in the manosphere, authorities began to take a much closer look at what was happening behind the scenes.
Are that condition realistic?
The Matrix has attacked me.
In December 2022, Romanian authorities arrested Andrew Tate, his brother Tristan, and 2 women as part of an investigation into allegations of human trafficking, SA, and forming an organized criminal group. The investigation centered around allegations that women had been recruited and exploited to produce online content for financial gain. And suddenly, some of the things Tate had openly discussed about his webcam business began receiving a completely different level of attention.
But the majority of my money wasn't made in fighting. My money was actually made in the pimp game.
So there's no, just to be clear, you are not accused of pandering, of pimping, of forcing women to have sex with anybody.
No.
From my position, pimp game. Having sex with girls is all good, but how do you get them to do as you say, make you money, obey you, allow you to cheat on them in front of their face and still love you? That's the game.
The overall charge is that there's an organized criminal group. There's a group of us, and we use the lover boy method to convince women to do TikTok videos, to make money, so that we can steal the TikTok money.
Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich. I had women who would work for me and make $100,000 a year and give it all to me.
Yeah, that's human trafficking, because what you do is you force a girl to work against her will for financial gain. That's human trafficking.
The same man who had built an enormous following on social media was now sitting in a Romanian jail facing some extremely serious allegations. Tate denied the allegations and maintained that he had done nothing wrong. And many of Tate's supporters didn't abandon him. Instead, they defended him. Some questioned the accusations against him, while others embraced an explanation Tate himself had already been pushing for years. The Matrix was trying to silence him. The man who had spent years telling his followers not to embrace a victim mentality was now arguing that powerful outside forces were targeting him. And whether his supporters saw that as a contradiction or not, this was only the beginning. Andrew Tate's legal problems in Romania didn't end with his arrest. After spending several months in custody, Andrew and Tristan were eventually moved to house arrest. And in June 2023, Romanian prosecutors formally indicted the brothers. But in late 2024, a Romanian court ruled that the case could not proceed to trial in its current form because of problems with the indictment.
Dismissed in 2024 in December due to lack of evidence and the fact that the evidence was made up, invented, mistranslated. It was a disaster for the Romanian prosecution.
By that point, Romanian authorities had already opened another investigation involving the brothers, this time containing even more serious allegations. Andrew and Tristan denied wrongdoing. But while the legal process in Romania continued to drag on, another country was preparing its own case against the Tate brothers. The allegations would follow them all the way back to the United Kingdom. British prosecutors authorized criminal charges against both brothers over alleged offenses dating back several years. Andrew faced charges including SA, human trafficking, assault, and controlling prostitution, while Tristan also faced similar charges, and they still denied the allegations.
It's just garbage out of a corrupt country. No one's that dumb. Like, human trafficking, okay, show me a victim, show me a hurt girl, show me a bruise, show me a girl chained up, show me something.
But the situation would become even more serious, because in July 2026, British prosecutors announced 38 additional charges against Andrew and Tristan, bringing the total number of charges they face in the United Kingdom to 59. Andrew alone now faces 42 charges, including additional allegations involving severe child exploitation offenses and extreme illicit material. Tristan faces 17 charges, including allegations involving severe physical assault and organized human trafficking for exploitation. British authorities weren't just building a case against the Tate brothers anymore. They wanted them back to the United Kingdom to face it. But before the British authorities could bring them back to the United Kingdom, the brothers had been allowed to leave Romania after restrictions on their international travels were lifted. And eventually, they made their way to Florida. Then on July 18th of this year, everything changed. Andrew and Tristan were arrested in Miami by the US Marshal Service after British authorities formally requested their extradition to the United Kingdom. And just like that, years of investigations and allegations across multiple countries had finally followed the Tate brothers to the United States. Andrew Tate now finds himself facing the most serious legal situation of his life. And if he's eventually extradited and convicted of the most serious charges against him, he could potentially face life in prison. Andrew Tate's own philosophy is about to face its biggest test. Because if Andrew Tate truly believes that a man should accept whatever situation life puts in front of him without blaming outside forces, then shouldn't that same standard apply to him? The contradiction becomes even harder to ignore when you look at the image Tate sold to his audience. And whether his supporters want to admit it or not, those allegations are now permanently attached to Andrew's name. And that raises an even bigger question. The same young men who defended Andrew Tate through his first arrest and years of legal problems, are they still willing to defend him now? For years, Andrew Tate's supporters have stood behind him through controversy after controversy.
I was about to go to sleep. I was on Twitter and this tweet came across my feed, okay? And I said, fuck it, we're not sleeping right now. Guys, the Tates need our help, okay? I saw this come across my feed. He basically says, I'm being held in SHU, the highest level of security which exists. No commissary, no visits, no contact with the outside world. My neighbor is a cannibal who screams throughout the night.
We're no longer just talking about controversial opinions about women. We're no longer just talking about an internet personality saying things people find offensive. And that forces his supporters to decide where their line is. Do they continue believing that every new allegation against Tate is simply another attempt to destroy him? Or is there eventually a point where the allegations become serious enough that even some of his most loyal supporters begin questioning the man they used to defend? And that's the problem with building your entire platform around telling other people what a man is supposed to be. Eventually, they're going to find out whether you truly ever lived up to that standard yourself. Now, if you stayed till the end, I appreciate it. And if you want to support the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.